Welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is episode 43. My name is Zach, and as always, I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey.
And my best friend, Jake.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Real quick.
That was not
What?
that was not your normal cadence of that.
Do you want me to do it again?
No.
Nope.
How's everybody doing tonight?
No, we didn't
yeah.
want you to do it again.
I'm going to strike that from the record.
All right, well, here's the
we
thing
should
is
cut that out.
I'm wearing your headphones tonight because I left my Beats in my car, and I got to say, I'm not pleased with the lack of low end in these headphones.
Those headphones are a million times better than your Beats, just FYI.
I don't hear... Do you remember that Chappelle Show skit he did? You turn it up. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Turn it up! You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, in my headphones.
Yeah, that's what I feel like right now.
Great. This is a good start.
Hey,
Let's reference a show
Hey,
from
did
15
you
years
guys
ago.
notice that we're all wearing like shades of red?
It's literally been brought up so many times on the Instagram Live that we're still currently doing right now. Shout out
I can't
to,
read it. It's so far away.
Shout out to Shanna. It was good hanging out with you.
Yeah, again,
A fellow patron. We're not patrons.
no, we're not.
Why not?
Speaking of, if you're not a patron, you should check us out, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast, because we are going to be recording Redemption House episode 2 this weekend. We're going to have hopefully one of our patrons on to get on there and talk real quick, and then we've got some other things we're going to cover. And so, again, you can go to smashingheadspodcast.com. That has links to everything, but our Patreon specifically is patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast. Shout out to Katie, who joined this week.
That's the corn dog. That's the girl
Corn
I've got
dog
a
Katie,
big
yeah.
beef with, and her love for corn dogs.
Corn dogs
So-
are really
dogs
good
are
at-
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
And
great with mustard.
One thing we talked about tonight in regards to the Patreon
okay.
is, and I'm not sure how many people are aware of this, is that if you become a part of the Bloodlines crew,
Which I think like 85% of
Yeah.
the people who have joined our Bloodlines crew.
you get to come on to our Redemption House pod and hang out with us.
Now, the way you phrase that is a little misleading.
What I say?
You're just
Everyone-
like, you just get to
Everyone
No, it's-
that is in that tier, everyone gets an alert when we start to record, and then everyone comes in. Everybody has their own mic, and
Well,
they get to just say whatever they want.
We do plan, like right now, like it would take a while, but we can have everyone on at some point. But
No, but everyone at the same time.
not everyone wants to come on more than likely, but we do want to have our patrons on, kind of get their take on the challenge, why they watch it, who their favorites are, that type of thing, so we can get to know you guys a little bit better. And we're going to start that this weekend. We already had some people comment saying they're going to be watching in-game on Friday when we're planning to record. So if we draw some of those names, we'll have to kind of work around some scheduling things. But we do want to get some stuff like that in here because it's fun, and we like talking with you guys. Again, the Bloodlines crew, there's a handful of you that are part of the Bloodlines crew that are not in the group Slack group, whatever it's called.
We want to slack you.
Yeah. There's
That sounded weird.
a pinned post on our Patreon if you are part of the Bloodlines crew that has an invite to a Slack group. That thing it's super fun, like talking to everyone. Shout out Grim and Carrie and Chico and Neens and Crystal and
Carrie,
Katie. I think I said Carrie. Katie, Connor,
Grim.
Logan.
Yeah, Grim. Logan's not in there.
Oh, who is it? Mikey.
You don't keep up with our.
Maybe I'm confusing it with Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's a different thing for sure.
Twitter's free.
But we like to slack you.
Jake, it's not getting any less weird the more you say it.
Oh, Statman Paul.
Man.
I'm going to forget some people, and that's my fault.
So while you're doing... Yeah, go ahead.
Let me do this
Go ahead.
because I could look at it right here. Let's go. Brian, Connor, Jen, Carrie, Lisa, Robin, Stat Checker Paul. I think I said everyone already by now, so we're good. But if I left you out, I'm sorry, but it's super fun.
It's so active in there that when I got done mowing the yard the other day, I had like 50 unread messages.
And they're not annoying messages. by the
it's
way.
good conversation.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, and it's not always about the challenge, which is why I like it. Like we had a big debate about fast food stuff on Sunday.
Yeah, we did.
And so again, that's been a lot more fun than I even expected it to be, and I'm the one who set it up. So Again, it's
All right.
Well,
Act like we didn't
if
do
you're gonna
anything.
be like that, I already had a Slack account
Yeah.
and was part of a Slack group before you even mentioned it to us.
Yeah.
yeah, and you're the least active in there. What does this mean? Oh, someone sent us a question. I
Oh.
didn't. Did you know you could do that?
No.
No.
Me either. Do you guys listen to any other challenge podcasts? This is something we discovered on Instagram right now.
Wow.
I will listen to Challenge Mania when they have guests on that I'm really interested in.
We like Scott.
Yeah, we like Scott. I haven't talked to Derek personally. I don't mind. I like Derek. It's not that I don't mind him. We've never talked. Also, shout out to Logan at the Hendrick Files / Rotten Banana podcast. If you need another challenge podcast, go to there. All the other ones, there's a bunch of them out there. Honestly, I have not listened. If I'm being completely honest. Have you? I will say, when we started this show, we were very naive. We thought there was like 3.
Here, in our defense, I think like it's hard, right? Like you watch the show and then you talk about it,
Yeah.
and so it's
And then we interact on Twitter. And
not that we don't want to listen. It's not that we don't want to, because we support. We'll share their stuff.
yeah.
We'll do all that. But for me personally, like it's hard. Like I get a lot of challenge stuff, man.
Yeah,
Like,
we have to think and talk about so much challenge related stuff that sometimes I'm just like, I need a break from that world. Otherwise, it's just going to consume everything that I do. And so I honestly don't listen to it a lot. I haven't listened to Challenge Mania in a while. I haven't listened to Logan in a while.
To be fair, we're also trying to sell our house
Yeah, we
and
got a
buy
lot-
a new
we got a lot
house.
going on.
And I'm working 2 full-time jobs right now.
Thanks, Caroline.
On top
Appreciate it.
of us still trying to get some time where we actually will sit down and eat a meal together.
Yeah,
So
me
that's
and
kind
Jake
of been
never eat a meal
that's
together.
kind of been
well, we used
your
to.
life and my life together for a little bit.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to any other challenge podcasts or whatever. It's just that
We just aren't physically capable of it right now.
I'm physically capable. I'm strong
No.
enough to handle it.
Okay. Well, there's not enough hours in the day for it.
Yeah,
that's for
I mean,
sure.
I listen personally. I listen to a lot of podcasts, like probably more than.
So that's the other part of it too. Is
Yeah.
like
We have other
I want
interests.
to listen to other stuff. Like there's so much challenge intake
Yeah.
coming in and everything.
How did this get made?
Yeah, I
That's
listen.
a good one.
If you just want to, let me give a quick rundown of some of my favorite podcasts.
Douglas Movies.
Douglas Movies is a great one. Movie Trivia, where he brings comedians and celebrities on. How Did This Get Made, where they watch really bad movies and have celebrities on.
Conan Needs Friends.
No, that's a newer one, but
you
yeah,
like
I
it.
do like it.
Harmontown.
Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Harmontown's a great one. Dan Harmon from not the Challenge, from Community.
I know your
and
life.
Rick and Morty.
I know what you listen to.
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of, again, we talk about the challenge so much that I like to take a break when I'm listening to it to listen to other things, because I just don't have all the time in the world. This is, if you're on Instagram, this is my podcast feed. A lot of basketball, a lot of comedy.
Oh man, The Ringer. Anything The
Yeah.
Ringer, just about.
Shout out to our friend John Michael, who has a podcast about the Dallas-Fort Worth water system.
And maybe this is a spoiler.
Oh God,
He-
Han.
Maybe it's a teaser. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a teaser.
He's nothing
He-
challenge related.
He may be coming on soon.
He wants to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So yeah, anyway, sorry, I didn't know you could ask questions on Instagram Live now like that. But yeah, that's kind of my reasoning why I don't listen to as much. Again, there's some other ones out there that I may not like hit it off with personality wise, but it's nothing like against anyone else. Like we didn't get in this to like start drama or beefs or anything like that.
No.
We love you, Figueros. Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Figueroa.
Yeah. So again, nothing against anyone else. It's just that we don't have enough time right now. Maybe if we all didn't work full-time jobs and whatever else.
We absolutely support those guys, man. Like, was it Scott or Wes? I think on the Challenge Mania pod when they interviewed him the first time. I think
He said
something about rising tides. You know that
rising
quote.
tides raise all boats. So he said any challenge related stuff is good for everyone, and
Yeah.
I agree. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
the more people are talking about it, the more popular the show gets, the more people dive into the other side of the show, which is basically where we kind of live at. So it's good for everyone.
So let's hop into our show
No,
tonight.
I'm running the show. And
Amen.
I've got one more thing to say,
Okay.
Say what's on your mind.
You talked about the Patreon. You talked about the Slack.
which is part of the Patreon. I've got notes of what I want to talk about.
Let's hit it.
We're ready to slack you.
Jake, no.
Pauly is coming on the show
Yeah.
on Tuesday. We're recording Tuesday night. He wanted to do it tomorrow night, but I was like, hey, I forgot we're seeing Avengers Endgame tomorrow, and it's a 3-hour movie.
And we will let him confirm or deny if I've actually been sucking up to him.
He's not going to admit it.
No. He's going to tell the truth about this particular issue. We'll get the truth.
So
on.
let me just preface this for everyone. Pauly's not always the one that you go to for truth telling.
Shout out to fellow patron Connor for joining.
Neither is Bear.
Yeah, but Bears has nothing to do with what Jake's talking about right now, because
You're so angry.
I'm not angry. Again, Pauly's coming on Tuesday. We're recording Tuesday night. It's he's been pretty honestly pretty easygoing, and so I'm excited about it. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be different than any of our other interviews, but we all have talked about it's going to be, just kind of a cordial talking, see what happens. This is probably going to be the least prepared I've been for an interview, and that's nothing against Pauly specifically.
We just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so it's just kind of up in there. But he's coming on Tuesday. That episode, I'm not going to give any sort of time frame, but if you are a patron, you'll get it 24 hours in advance. And so, again, check us out, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast. I got to plug it because it helps pay for everything.
And we do what we do because of our love for you.
Were you trying to make that rhyme?
Rhymes on. If you haven't heard before, the king of rhymes over here.
Is that what you call
I've
yourself?
never heard that in my life.
You know,
Not once.
There are queens of retweets. There are kings of shares, princes of likes. Persia.
Yeah.
That's a good game.
I
Not a
am
good movie.
the king
No,
of
but
rhymes.
it was a good game for the BlackBerry.
What? No, I don't think anyone in the history of the world has ever that's a great BlackBerry game.
Well, I mean, it was my age when the BlackBerry was like a really big thing, and that's all anybody used.
What was your age?
And
What was it? What object was your age?
And they all had
gotta
like
open that
Prince
door.
of Persia
Is it hot?
on
Yeah, it's hot in
them.
here.
God,
Like that was the thing. Prince of Persia was like a game that was on the BlackBerry, and I would take my. I didn't have a phone at the time,
all the way.
so I had to take my mom's phone when she wasn't using it, and I would just play Prince of Persia.
So the Prince of Persia was like a PlayStation series. So the BlackBerry version's gotta suck because even mobile games now are not very good.
It was so much fun. I enjoyed it, but probably because
It was your age.
my age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jack.
Jack, Zach, that shirt looks your age.
Cool callback.
Good. I'm glad it's funny now.
That's really going to translate well
God.
in this podcast when people listen back to it.
Yeah, this shirt's very comfortable. That's why I'm wearing it. I'm not a huge fan of what's on it, but
What is it? Hot cross?
yeah, hot cross.
No, but your mom bought it for you for Christmas, and she was
Ooh.
really.
Was it for Christmas?
Yes, it was.
I don't remember.
Because it was in a box. There was something of mine in it and something of yours in it, and yours was the shirt. And so I pulled it up, and she was so excited about it. So I mean, you should be thankful.
It's a very comfortable shirt.
It's very soft. It's not bad. It's got a big bear on it.
You look good, Zach.
And he's
Thanks,
playing
guys.
the electric guitar.
Thanks, guys.
The electric guitar, like you play.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it does combine a couple of my favorite things.
Yeah, she literally thought this shirt was perfect for you. She was so excited about it.
Can I get you a shirt with a guitar on it that just says rock on?
Yeah, Brian said he thought it was a McGee and Me shirt.
Oh, man.
He saw me.
Brian with the McGee and Me reference.
Well, yeah, we don't try to integrate Instagram live comments into the podcast because it's a little confusing. But
They don't translate well for people that aren't here for the Instagram live that want to listen back to it tomorrow.
on my personal Twitter account, I was interacting with a comic book artist that follows me because we talk about basketball, and he posted this guy, and I was like, that kid was in a McGee and Me thing from the 90s where he got a jelly donut smashed on his head, and Brian jumped in there. McGee and Me, if you don't know what it is a direct to VHS Christian TV show from the early 90s.
I've never even heard of it.
I always remember the episode with the tornado in it.
Yeah, and there was one where they
I was fascinated by tornadoes as a kid.
There was one where they like destroyed like a Native American guy's house, and like he had all these animals in there, and they had to learn the lesson to not destroy other people's property. It's not. I don't think it's a good show. I haven't watched it in probably 20 years.
Well, I'll tell you this. There's probably a few people real upset we haven't started talking about the challenge yet.
I'm one of them.
Well, yeah, you were just talking about shirts for 3 minutes.
Yeah, because you were talking about it.
Okay, all right.
Please, can we talk about the show?
I'm running this show.
You're not running it well right now.
Are we leaving our people? Wow, there's a time limit on IG Lives?
I don't know, but I'm about to get off of it anyway. So
God, we learned so much tonight about Instagram Live.
yeah. So.
Well, you didn't tell them bye. You just ended it.
It's fine. They'll get the picture.
I didn't get to tell them to have a good night.
It's fine. They'll hear it at the end of the podcast. Again,
you are a great.
So we start out tonight.
No, we didn't.
We ended last week in the middle of the girls' elimination. We know that Georgia got voted in, but she got to choose who she was going to go up against. And because there were 2 chairs just in the middle of the killing floor, it did not look like it was going to be anything very physical. I think we all kind of had the same suspicion that she was going to pick out of the 2 remaining girls, out of Ninja Natalie or Nani. Georgia thinks that she has the best chances.
There was another girl
Nani.
left too.
Who was it?
Davon.
Oh, yeah. But Georgia, we open up tonight and she says, obviously, I'm not going to go up against Ninja Natalie because, I mean, look at her. And Georgia said that she's seen twice what Davon can do in an elimination. She does really well, especially physically.
Well, after tonight, my opinion on Davon being great in these challenges has definitely gone down.
Yeah.
I will say she did. We'll get to it, but she did try with Wes more than I expected. But she's not going to be able to run a final, and we'll get to that in a minute.
So Georgia said she picks Nani because she wants to see what she can do.
Yeah,
and I thought this was kind of a dumb elimination. I didn't like it.
Nani was the most identical physical matchup for Georgia. They are very similar sized. Strength looks about the same.
What was so stupid about this elimination?
Horrible elimination.
Is it was not dependent on the people who were up to go home.
No.
It wasn't.
It had nothing to do with them.
TJ even said, because I made a note, I said, so you put the fate of the 2 girls who were on the verge of going home in the hands of 2 guys who weren't going home.
Yeah.
And then TJ says, immediately after I typed that, you got, he said to Georgia, you got in Wes's head, and he could not get it done. Wes couldn't get it done.
Yeah, my opinion on this whole thing is that this was a backup elimination. They had another thing planned, and something went wrong.
Just make them...
When they tested it, something happened or whatever, and they're like, oh, crap, we have to have something. This was horrible. The absolute worst elimination of the season for sure. I think it's even worse than the backup elimination that we saw last season, where Bananas and Natalie just had...
Oh, for sure.
They had that weird eating contest at the beginning, which didn't matter at all, and then they just had to stand there.
Yeah.
Because that thing went on for 5 hours.
Yeah.
At least they did have to stand there for a long time, and their legs were hindering.
And it was dependent on the people who were actually going home. This one is over in 5 seconds. That's it.
I think a better backup elimination idea would have been to blindfold them and have them arm wrestle.
I'm going to ask Paulie about that when he comes on. Was this the planned elimination? If he can get into it,
we should ask him about that elimination from last season.
Well, that's already been out. That was a backup. They had done something the day before.
I'm out on the loop on that.
Yeah, they had done something
the
night before for Final Reckoning, and then scrapped it, sent everyone home, and then came back the next night and had this new one, which didn't make any sense. But yeah, it's
You're still mad about that.
There's a lot of problems in Final Reckoning, but this is absolutely the biggest misstep of this whole season.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's close.
I mean, you'd have been better off saying, you got 10 minutes, give me as many push-ups as possible.
Yeah, or I think it was the Gauntlet 2 or something like that, where they were just how many logs can you squat in this trailer? and it was like Big Easy versus somebody. And then he's like, I can do 25. I can do 30. I can do 35. And then Big Easy's like, I'll do all of them. And they're like, well.
Because one person would like bet how many they could get, and if they got that, that was it.
Yeah, if they called him out and they did it, the elimination's over. But like what would happen in that one is that Big Easy's like, I'll just do all of them. And they're like, well, you can't even give a counter. And if he does it, he just wins. And then he won. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, I hate, like, there's eliminations like this are really dumb because, like, Nani literally could do nothing. First of all, it was a good pick by Georgia because Turbo did have experience.
He's tied people up on airplanes before.
He like, tied up someone on drugs on an airplane with tape. But I will say, for Wes's credit, which I don't blame this on him, it did look like Georgia was moving a lot more than Nani was.
Nani did. She would just sat there and took it.
Yeah, except for when like Turbo had some pressure on her arm.
Yeah, because didn't she say it was like hurting her or something, and she got a little upset. And then he like started apologizing. He's like, "I'm so sorry," because I mean he's amazing.
Well, it's so stupid. Like this is not him and Wes's elimination. Like this, it would be different if like they had done like say a partner's challenge earlier in the day, and then their partner had to do the one. So then they would feel ultimately responsible for it.
Right.
But like these people had no ties to each other.
No. And then you had the issue of, I mean, good on Georgia, man. If there's no rules, if you're not being able to move around, like, dude, do it.
I mean, Wes was complaining about it, and you could see clearly, like, the tape he was using was ripping like crazy.
Before he got done, like, the whole time, like, that is one really bad tape job.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to break through that.
Yeah.
And then she did immediately.
Did.
And
within seconds.
Here's the other thing I didn't like. One, we were not told how long they had to tape it up. We didn't see any sort of a running clock. I'm sure they had one, but they cut out every... That's my one big complaint about this season. They cut out every measurable, like, marker of every dailies, eliminations, all that stuff. Like, even this daily, like we didn't see who had the most weight. Like we were told who made the tribunal, but we didn't see it. And like going into all the other ones, we never saw who gets done the quickest, any of that type of stuff. And like what was it? Josh and Amanda versus Cam and Ashley? You know, the whole thing where they had to like, push themselves up. They were saying afterwards it took Ashley and Cam like 25 more minutes after Josh and them fell to get up to that height. And like I don't know if they're trying to protect. It's just dumb. Like they should just be like, hey, I get it's a TV show, but this is how much weight Wes and Davon had. This is how much weight Pauly. So you could see how close some of the 4th place, 5th place, all that were. Like that is my huge gripe with this season. And we're not even into that part of the daily yet. Anyway, by far, I think it's the worst elimination in like the last like 5 seasons at least.
It also just seemed like really crappy leftover tape. Because it was like camo tape, so I wonder if it was just stuff that they had on set that they were using for other stuff.
I think it was just like, oh no, we have to have an elimination. We got a bell, we got a chair and some tape, and we'll put a circle around it for no reason. Like there was no reason to have that circle there.
I will say, Georgia had a lot of bear in her tonight.
She did.
I liked it.
She got very annoying to me, and I get that was her point, so mission accomplished.
Yeah, but it started hurting my head and my ears very quickly. Very quickly.
Very off key, that's for sure.
I think that's what bothered me so much. It was just real pitchy.
It was the most like tone deaf singing like you can imagine, and again, it did work, but it was like it's like Bear took over her body. And was like, this is what I would do if I was in this situation.
And hey, shout out to Nani for just being cool about it. Number one being called out, she was like, there's not any more girls here.
She's like, I get it.
You know, and then when she lost, she was like, seriously, shout out to her for being an adult.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
if anything else.
But also, shout out to Georgia. After she won and rang the bell, she immediately ran over to Nani and started untaping her.
Well, I mean, there was nothing Nani could do. Like, it was... I don't know.
Who won that elimination? Turbo.
Yeah.
Turbo won the elimination.
And you know who lost it? Everyone who had to watch it.
And Wes.
Yep.
Yeah, and Wes. It was just, I think it's the biggest misstep of the season for sure.
I hope that we don't have another.
I hate that was like the big cliffhanger, and then that's what we saw when we came back. I think the cliffhanger from this episode was a lot better, just given the height and of the circumstances.
We thought last week's cliffhanger was okay,
but we didn't know what the elimination was.
Yeah, but
we
also,
know what next week's is going to be.
I know, but just the thing is, we thought that this time last week we literally said, this is the first cliffhanger of the entire season. We got this far in before we got one, so I'm okay with it. I think it's going to be a good elimination. It was such a letdown.
Yeah, it was a little bit of like
it was so disappointing.
Stockholm syndrome, because like we were so like conditioned with Final Reckoning to be like, great, another cliffhanger where no one goes home. There's no dailies, whatever. And so like this season, daily elimination. So we're what, 13 episodes into this season, 12, something like that. And it was the first one, and we were like, okay, we could. That's okay. We know what's going to happen. Like, it's not a big deal. Maybe they'll do a double elimination. And then that was what we came back to. Like, that's horrible. Like that. And
God, you are tore up over this.
It was bad. Like, you got to admit it was bad.
You're
like,
more upset than that bear is on your shirt.
What? What?
I didn't think the bear was upset.
What elimination would you think would be worse than this?
Oh, man.
I can't think
that it's been done?
Yeah, just in general. Like, it's hard for me to think of one that's worse.
Oh, I thought you were asking me to come up with something worse.
The's some that
no,
are
not
bad.
just make up one.
Like
there's
paper
some really bad
or something.
ones.
Yeah, you know.
What if they had them? That may have been better than not.
Who could throw a paper airplane?
Yeah, who can make their paper airplane and throw it the farthest?
At least it would have been in their own hands, literally.
Yeah.
Like I'm struggling to think of a worse elimination. Like,
I have a worse elimination idea.
Well, I could come up with a worse elimination idea.
I do have a good one. So, like,
here we go.
Like archery, but Nani and Georgia have apples on their heads, and they picked Turbo and Wes, and so Turbo and Wes have the bow and arrow, and they each get one shot, and if they hit. If Turbo or Wes hits the apple on top of their on top of the girl's head, like if Wes hits the apple on top of Nani's head, then she wins and she stays. But if Wes misses and hits her arm or gets her right in the middle of the eyeballs, then she goes to the hospital and she's out.
I'm not even going to respond to that.
I mean,
I thought that was a good one.
No.
This is where your old favorite band, Pillar, this is where their song, Where Do We Go From Here?
Yeah, my favorite band, Pillar.
Where do we go from?
What do you think the odds are that anyone that's listening to
I bet you someone knows who Pillar
By the way,
is.
just...
I've never heard of Pillar.
You guys playing footsie over there?
No,
she's putting her feet on me while I do this.
My kneecaps hurt really bad, so I've got to stretch out my legs.
God, that's odd.
Well, one thing we forgot to mention at the top of the show, because I didn't get to all my notes right away.
Because you wanted to read Instagram comments.
We were the number 1 TV and film podcast in Bulgaria
That's going on our Twitter.
This week. There's not enough room. Well,
I'll find a way.
Also, we were the number 8 overall podcast in Bulgaria this week. I don't know what we did to spike in Bulgaria. Usually we get weird little stats about Slovenia and Lithuania. Like, you're number 32 in TV and film in Lithuania.
It really threw me off that you said Bulgaria. I thought you were going to say bulimia.
That's not a country.
What if
I know, but it threw me off, and I'm so tired.
Oh, dang,
There's
man.
not enough room, I told you.
Room for like 4 letters.
Yeah, then that's...
Can we take Hannah's name out?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Just replace Hannah with Bulgaria.
Hosted by Zach, Bulgaria, and Jake.
Yeah.
We should do that I'm going to do it as a joke for like a day.
No one's going to see that. I mean, I
you
guess
don't
they
think
will
so?
after they hear this, but...
All right, Han.
Okay, bye.
All right, dude. Like,
yeah, we're subscribed to a newsletter that tracks podcast stats, and they send us like a weekly thing, and like, hey, here's your reviews for the week. This is where you chart it if you do it all. And for some reason, we've got on Bulgaria's list.
We're on their radar.
It's probably like one guy in Bulgaria is there, and it spiked us up to the top. I don't know how.
And it probably was on accident. Like, he's like, oh, smashing heads. That sounds great.
I will gladly be anybody's accident.
Good lord.
Ew, Jake, you gotta... No.
That's him. He was clapping for himself just then.
Yeah.
You never make yourself laugh?
Neither of us clapped for him.
I don't think I clapped for myself. I laugh at myself.
I didn't realize what I was saying until I was in the middle of it, and then it hit me. It's pretty funny.
And you just went through with it.
Oh, boy.
Boy.
So, Georgia wins.
No. First thing we didn't get to, by the way.
God, are we still on this elimination?
Yeah.
Nothing
Why?
happened, and we're still on
but here's a big... This is a big plot point we did miss.
point.
Hunter is upset because...
George's is number 2.
George's is number 2. Nani's is number 1. They're going against each other. Also, neither one of them picked him for this, which probably was a benefit for him, because if he did do that and then
He would have felt guilty.
he already was threatening to quit, like this would have just probably made him jump off the plane on the way home.
God.
I didn't like
really
it.
intense.
I didn't like it. You literally just made up an elimination where people are shooting arrows at people's heads.
That's just
yeah,
dangerous.
but that's like a common thing.
Yeah, super common.
Yeah.
The apple on the head.
Yeah, if you're a weirdo.
That's like a thing.
Yeah.
It's not anything that's unheard of, that's for sure.
It was from William Tell.
You're not shooting an apple at my head.
Yes.
I'm a pretty good shot, Jake.
Okay.
So Wes is very sad about what happens, clearly, because it was his fault, but also maybe not, because it's a stupid elimination.
You know what, Wes? I'm sad.
This is a sad episode. Everyone's sad in this episode.
I'm
Yeah,
sad.
but Jake is sad because of Wes
made a lot
not
of
making
promises to
the jingled Tinder thing.
It's not just that. Wes made a lot of promises to me, and promised to be my wingman.
Was one of them to keep Nani on the show? No.
Should have been.
No. By the way, if you haven't listened to our interview with Wes, it's a 2-parter.
Boy, that's a doozy, especially part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, so Wes is sad. He immediately kind of just apologizes to Hunter because Nani's gone. He's like, my fault, man. And Hunter's like, yeah, whatever. I got hot dogs. I don't know.
Well, before that, what I was trying to say earlier is Georgia and Davon are talking immediately after Georgia wins her elimination, and they're deciding that they're going to conspire against Wes. So whatever they do, if either of them gets into the tribunal, or they're close with someone that gets into the tribunal, they're going to do everything they can to get Wes thrown into the next elimination.
Yeah, I think that was the next day, though, because they're sitting up on couches and whatever. I'm talking about, like, the night when they got back. Like, he was apologizing to Hunter, and then that's when Kyle came in, and he's worried because Kyle's, like,
Alone.
counting down his alliance, and there's not any because now Maddie's working with Cara and Pauly, which I get Maddie's perspective on it. Like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, she's in this for herself. She's talked about she needs the money for her family.
She didn't have any ties to Kyle before coming onto the show.
No.
That's the thing.
And, I mean, I get it. It's an individual game at this point, but Kyle's kind of
Having a hard time with it.
Yeah, I mean, Wes and Hunter are kind of in an alliance with him, but, like, he's on the low end of that. It's definitely 1, and then Hunter's like 3, and then Kyle's like 5, and then Wes is number 2 and 4. That's a good analogy.
A lot of numbers there.
Yeah. It's Kyle's bummed out, and we'll see a little bit more about that later. Also, a quick note. I just wrote that Turbo just works out with other humans as his, like, weights. Because he was just been, like...
Yeah, ironically, he's using Natalie.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even put that together.
As his weight.
Yeah. That was... I wonder if they put that in there because of what happens later. Like, because they were using each other's, like, body weight to, like, counterbalance. Like, he was doing, like, handstand and she was laying off of him. I don't know what that's called. And then he was, like...
We've seen that stuff at a halftime show of a Grizzlies game before.
Yeah.
Some crazy stuff, man. Some
crazy, wild and crazy stuff.
And you get them in that weird metal ball, and they start rolling around.
Oh yeah.
It's talent.
It's
grade A talent.
We get to the daily, called Day of Reckoning, but with a W, like reckoning, because basically they're in a
wreckage.
Yeah, a wreckage. It looks like a not like a. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not a trash heap, but it's like a dumping
Dumpster
ground.
fire.
Dumpster fire. It'd been a lot harder if it was on fire.
Been quite a watch.
But yeah, it's basically just they're going to be in pairs for this challenge, but they didn't explain why they were in pairs or what the motivation would be for the ladies for this challenge, because they're all safe from elimination. Like typically in older seasons when we've seen, it's a guy's elimination day, they're like, hey, girls, if you're the best, you get a T-Mobile sidekick or whatever.
There's always some kind of reward for the side that's not going into elimination.
Because they have nothing to lose. Like, why would they exert themselves to help someone who's ultimately not on their team? Like, I wish we would get a little bit more insight to that type of thing. But they do pairs. TJ's like, I'm going to randomly draw the guys' names.
And they pick their partners.
Yeah. And I didn't write down everyone's partner,
but I know that Theo picked Cara after Paulie told everybody not to pick Cara.
Yeah.
And Paulie, like, I thought he was going to be, like, jokingly upset, but he was, like, legitimately upset about it.
You can't tell with him if he's joking or not.
Well,
like,
at first, because Theo was like, sorry, man, I just got to take her. And, like, he
by
was
the way,
kinda,
she was pretty excited about it.
She was crazy excited about it. And, like, I thought at first Paulie was just kind of like, haha, okay. But in his confessional, he was, like, legitimately upset.
I think on the stand, he's, like, not the confessional, but, like, right there, it's like, he said something like, I'm going to have to punch him in his effing mouth or something like that. Or something along those lines. I didn't write down the quote, but
Theo was still on his tribunal high horse.
By the way, on his natural high horse of just height, he was standing on the bottom row, and he still was taller than Paulie, and right about there.
You got eyes for the men with the height.
He does.
I do wish I was taller.
Yeah,
I'm the tallest of the three of us, but I wish I was taller.
Yeah, me too.
Why?
But just basketball reasons.
Well, you don't even play no more.
Yeah, you don't. When's the last time you played?
When's the last time you played?
I played with two coworkers like 2 days ago.
Hey, let's stop real quick and shout out Jimmy John's.
No, screw
Why
Jimmy
do you
John's.
want to do that in the middle
screw
of it?
Jimmy John's.
No, it just hit me. We should have done that in the open.
Why do you want to shout them out?
Right now. Why right now?
For searching their name.
No, screw them. I'll tell you what. They did, like, I did not at them in anything.
Oh, I know why you're going to screw them.
Yeah. That's not what I'm saying. I did not at Jimmy John's. We talked about it briefly on the podcast last week, and then people started interacting with us, and I was just like, better than Jimmy John's, that's for sure, but I did not tag them, and they tweeted back at us
That's right.
twice.
Yeah.
And then
We found out the following day.
The next day I saw this thing going around that the owner of Jimmy John's is just a trophy hunter, but not just like, he'll like, I'll pay $8,000 to go on this safari hunt, and then he just sits in a vehicle and he's like, I killed this endangered rhino or this giraffe.
He goes after endangered species.
Yeah, and it's like he's got pictures with like a ton of different endangered animals in Africa. Again, I've been to Kenya a bunch. I don't.
Well, it's your homeland, almost.
Kind of.
It's your dad's homeland.
And it's like, it's so bad. Like, crap like this is so bad that, like, there's one version. It was either a white rhino or a black rhino left in all of Kenya. And they have, like, armed guards 24/7 that have to, like, hang out there with it to keep poachers and stuff like that. Because what they'll do is a lot of Americans will come in with a lot of money, or from Europeans or whatever, and say, hey, I want to do this. And they'll pay people, and they'll take them to shady areas where they're not supposed to kill these animals, and they do it anyway. Again, I hunting for sustenance or where there's a million of the same animal, whatever.
Hey, did you guys ever read that book in high school about... no, this is related. About the man that owned an island.
The most dangerous game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was like he hunted all these exotic animals, and he had them on his island, and then the people would pay to come over thinking they're hunting these exotic animals, but in fact the people paying to come over would be the prey.
Yeah, again, because man's the most dangerous game. But like he had one with Jimmy John's had one with a big bear. I like bears a lot. I like elephants.
Yeah,
I like
don't
rhinos.
bring up the elephant.
All that. Like I hate it. Like I really do. Trophy hunting for the sake of it, for endangered species especially. Like that's so stupid to me.
The people that
I'll
do that,
fight everyone
the
who says
people that do
otherwise.
that should be the ones that are hunted.
Yeah, I'm not going to say we murder people, but
That's brutal.
I didn't say I was the one murdering people.
It is. Yes,
But if they have such just
yes,
disregard for life, then who cares?
yeah. So boycott Jimmy John's. Thanks for bringing that up.
Everybody boycott Jimmy John's and at them and tell them they suck and their owner sucks.
God, dog.
I don't care. He shot down an elephant and I'm ready to burn this mother to the ground.
Elephants mourn when
They mourn the death
Yeah.
of their
we,
herd members
We won't be having Jimmy John's on as a sponsor anytime soon.
or ever.
I wouldn't want them. So we get into. Do you have the pairs written down? Did you?
I
do that?
actually do.
All right,
Zach,
read those off real quick.
I do. We had, in no particular order.
Should be in this.
There was a specific order.
Yeah, but I got out of order, but I
Okay.
got them here.
Okay.
Hunter and Maddie. Theo and Cora.
Uh-huh.
Paulie and Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Turbo and Ninja.
Mm-hmm. Which
What-
was like Ninja was like next to last.
Yeah.
Wes and Davon. And Kyle and D.
Yeah. Davon was the last one, and so Wes was very mad because they've already had a run in.
I don't think he was mad. He was just like, God, can you?
Oh no, he was he was mad.
Man, he was mad.
Yeah.
Well, I was also looking down trying to eat a salad.
Yeah, no, he was mad. Because he was like, I'm just gonna quit. Because again, she had no motivation to do anything. So shout out to her for doing it. Also found out she has asthma, so she's gonna suck out of any sort of final if she ever makes it.
Prayers going up.
Dee and Kyle, I thought that was a really good pairing, and they were actually just equally impressed with each other because of how well they worked together.
Well, they did not do that great. Again, I would like to.
They didn't win, but
They didn't come in
they
top 3.
They did well as a team. They worked well together.
Yeah, Kyle got injured tonight pretty
Several times.
Yeah, he jumped
Several times.
He jumped like a car door on his foot.
And broke his toe.
Yeah, and
He kneed the wheelbarrow really hard, broke his kneecap.
he said that. I don't know, but I'm not going to get into it. But he did say he was very hurt tonight. And he wasn't
Dropped
limping.
a barrel that he didn't know had paint in it. Got paint all in his eyes and his face.
In his face.
Yeah. The biggest takeaway of this is that I wrote before we got into anything. Davon is just. She's got asthma. How much of these finals is endurance, just running? Like, it's not going to work very well, especially like if it's timed at all. But we get into this whole thing. They're trying to carry stuff. They each have their own dumpster. They have an hour. They have to do this for an hour, and whoever has the most weight at the end of an hour wins. Mm-hmm. So different teams are doing different strategies. Like Paulie and Georgia, they're like, we're going to make a lot of trips very quickly, but not take as much weight. Turbo is like, hey, we're going to take our time but carry a lot of stuff, so we're making less trips.
Carry a lot of heavy things.
Yeah. Which, by the way, worked out both. Like, both of them made the top 3, so it made sense. But they're doing it completely different ways. Hunter thought this is like, we're going to kill this. I got Maddie. She's the strongest girl. This is built for me. This is my daily or whatever.
I don't think Hunter is endurance though. I think he's just strength.
He is strength. Shout out to Hall Brawl, which we will see is coming up next episode. It's tailor made for Hunter. Good God, you got me
Hall
screwed up
Brawl
now.
is tailor made for Hunter.
Yeah, because
but
he's wide.
Anything endurance, I don't think so. But that was what he was saying. He's like, strength plus endurance, this was made for me.
Yeah, he's not an endurance
No.
guy. Like, he's a baseball player, which is arguably the least like endurance-y sport there is. Like, basketball, constantly running. Football, constantly running.
Tennis,
Also,
constant short distance sprints.
baseball may also be the most boring sport. Don't at me.
I agree with that.
I'd say I'd put soccer above it, personally.
I'd rather watch soccer because
I'd
at
put
least they're
tennis
running
above
back
it.
and forth. Tennis would be number one.
I would put
Excuse me.
golf above it. Especially
I'm-
with Tiger back in the fold.
You're
I don't
not
know about that.
doing the scale the same way I am. You said the most boring, and I said I would put soccer above it. I meant like as being boring.
I'll tell you one thing I'd put above it in your scale: NASCAR. If I
That's
want
not sport to me.
Oh.
It's not sport to me.
People
not
here
sport.
in the South
Here's the thing.
It's a race.
lose their
It's not
minds
sport.
over it.
Here's the thing.
People in Kentucky do the same thing when it's with horses
If I want to
or dogs.
see a bunch of cars drive around, I'll go stand at the end of my driveway.
Oh, by the way, I had to do a video shoot for a concert in Talladega one time in college, and I got asked to do it. I was like, oh, Talladega, I've never been there, but I've heard a lot about it.
I bet you hated it.
It's the worst place I've ever
Mistake.
been in my life. Like
It's loud.
No. It wasn't at the.
It is loud.
No, Talladega is not. It wasn't at the raceway. The raceway is 45 minutes outside of the town. The town is a town of about 3,000 people.
I mean, I was going to say 4,200.
No, it's tiny, and they have a Walmart and a McDonald's, and that's in a Mexican restaurant, and that's it. There's nothing else to do
I bet you
there.
that Mexican restaurant's fire, though.
It was not that good. We ate there.
God.
Probably it's the only one. They have no competition. They don't have to be very good.
I was there for 3 days, and I was like, I want to shoot myself, and I'm never coming back here. And I was like, what great branding they have, just because they're like, Talladega. The raceway's, again, 30, 45 minutes down the road. The city sucks. If anyone's from Talladega, I don't care.
We don't have many listeners in Alabama, though.
Yeah, I know.
Actually.
It was awful, and I was like, I wish I wouldn't have volunteered for this because I got credit for it for school, but nothing else.
But hey,
Was it worth it?
I mean, I did video for a band called Atlanta Rhythm Section for a concert they did, which was a pretty big band from the 70s.
if it'll get us some more listeners in Alabama, Roll Tide, Saban rules.
Ew, no, stop it.
Lane Kiffin's your hero.
I wouldn't. No, I will not stoop that low. Never. For
See,
as
you're-
long as
you're a
I
sellout.
live.
John Parker Wilson.
You're just
throwback.
proving you're a sellout.
Where's Greg McElroy?
Exactly. So we get into the end of this like daily. The time's running out. TJ blows the horn. Ninja Natalie, whatever you want to call her, loses it. Throws her gloves off. Starts yelling at Turbo.
She threw a couple of pallets. She picked up a big wooden pole and was slamming it up against one of the dumpsters over and over as hard as she could, screaming.
It was an overreaction for sure, and I think even she realized it later on, like the night we're at the club. But like she's yelling at Turbo, and so he gets into it, and they're arguing. I would not say he was mistreating her.
No, she was talking to him in such a disrespectful way because he was doing his very gosh darn best to win this because it is a guy's elimination coming up. So he was doing his very best, and because he wasn't doing it the way that she wanted to do it, he had a really heavy load. He knew that it was going to help them win, and so he was doing his best. And for her to scream at him like that, like he didn't do anything at all, like he had given up or quit or whatever, and then he tries to get her to calm down, and then she screams at him more, and then he raises his voice to get her to listen to him. I mean, I was so not okay with this.
He kept saying, just trust me, which it was. It's a guy's elimination. It should be his discretion at this point. And it's solely because it's a guy's elimination.
Well, that's the weird thing, right? Is like,
why is she so upset?
she loses, nothing happens.
Exactly.
Nothing happens to her.
That we know of, unless something was cut out.
So there was a few interactions on Twitter about this.
I haven't even been on Twitter yet.
And for whatever reason, this brought back the Amanda and being taped up by a bunch of guys thing.
Yeah, I did see this, actually.
I don't get why we do this. I don't get why, like, challenge fandom has to look like this.
It's not just challenge fandom, to be honest. Like, it's like, if it's with Trump. If anyone's like, they criticize that, Obama did this, and it's like, well, that's not what we're critiquing right now. Like, it's same in sports, it is.
But number one, these are two
completely unrelated. I get it.
Completely unrelated.
But it's that same mindset. It's like, oh yeah, well these people are bad too, and it's like,
this isn't rocket science though.
Ricky Science.
This isn't Ricky Sign.
Yeah.
Shout out to Albert Pujols. This isn't Ricky Sign because here's what it is. Like, if anybody's still struggling with this idea, like, let's just chalk Ninja Natalie up to being extremely competitive and she hates to lose. I can relate. I hate it. Pickup game of basketball, hate it. I don't want to lose. And if I lose, I can't make a shot, I am angry. You've seen me. You can attest to this.
No, I can't.
Okay. I'm with that. I understand, like, hating to lose. All right? She flipped out. She said some things. I've said things to you.
Yeah.
Right? Playing basketball because I'm mad. I'm super competitive. It happens. You're my best friend. It happens. All right? Turbo doesn't want any part of it, but she keeps coming at him, and it gets him riled up. That's all it is. That's all it is. I didn't hear anything come from either of them. It's like, whoa, let's hold on now.
Unless something was heavily edited from either side, it just seemed like she's very mad. She's taking it out on him. He doesn't want to hear it. And so then he gets mad back, and they're just arguing about what happened between the two of them.
So, and somebody's going to think I'm taking a stance. I'm not. It was two people going back and
it's
forth.
a highly competitive game for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Here's my take, and I'm going to quote Polly here.
Oh, yes.
If you noticed, Polly and Natalie were partners for the first half of this game.
I know where you're going with this.
They did not win everything. She did not flip out like that on the dailies or the challenges that they didn't win.
No.
Why did she do it the one time she was partnered with Turbo?
Well, and the weird thing about that, too, is that, like, when she lost with Polly, like, they were constantly on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Like, she knew he had beef with other people. She was getting dragged into it. She was looked at as a tough competitor. They were a team that was going to be looked at to be put in the tribunal. She loses her mind over this.
And she had nothing to lose in this challenge.
It was not a girls' elimination day. It did not have... It's not like TJ said, hey, the losing guy's going into elimination night. If you're the losing girl, you're going tomorrow. Like, it had nothing. And so she like, makes it into this big thing. They're arguing, but they're not... I agree with you. Like, it's not to the point to... Like, we've seen way worse.
Yeah, this was
pretty tame by challenge standards.
Yeah.
I still didn't like it. It made me feel like she was a sore loser.
Yeah.
But they didn't even have the results yet.
Exactly.
I think she was just mad that she didn't get her way, and she kept telling him, "Come on, we have to go, or we're not going to get this in there." And he had to take a break because it was so heavy. And then they didn't make it, and it was more like one of those, "I told you so. Now look what's happened." But I'm not defending that in any way, shape, or form. I can't freaking stand when people act like that. If you're going to be a sore loser, you better shut your mouth and go home. Get it out of your system when you're all alone. Don't you put it out in front of me. I cannot handle a sore loser. If you're going to have that pitiful of sportsmanlike conduct or lack thereof, you don't even need to be here.
We just got a quick little preview into the world of Mama Hannah. I felt that. I started to sink in my seat. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I don't like sore losers. I don't like that kind of attitude.
The dumb thing... sorry.
Well,
I was just going to say she's not a loser. Like, we didn't know any results at this point.
But you're kind of proving, I think, the point here even more, Han, is that she's being a sore loser. Like, if that's what it was, that's what it was. Like, there was so much crap on Twitter about, like, MTV favoring. Yeah. It's like, guys, it's I know that's not what the issue was here. Though, like, that wasn't even the thing. Yeah, it's not what it was, because because people were like why is D getting into this, right? Like, people were going like, it's two girls getting that, but that's not even the thing. Like, it's not what it was.
So someone said, which we're not. They said, why is MTV favoring all these guys and whatever? And it's like, it's not that. It's not. Like, I feel like if it was that and we were like overlooking it, Hannah would have.
Oh, I'd pipe up about it.
Like, and so, like, I don't feel like it was that at all. It felt like she's upset. Turbo is there, and he did have a plan because it's a guy's elimination. She didn't want to hear it. she's yelling at him. He's not wanting to argue, and then it becomes an argument between two adults that are competing in a game for a lot of money. It wasn't anything over the line from him. He wasn't like raising his voice and getting like
disrespectful.
Yeah, I never felt like he crossed any lines personally. And again, unless something was edited out that we didn't see, all I can go off of is what we saw
from what we've seen. And I'm the type. I think everybody here knows it. If somebody's being disrespectful, I'm going to say something. Not once did I think that Turbo was being disrespectful in any way, shape, or form.
It just felt like an argument.
I think Natalie would. I think she was out of line, coming at him for no reason. They didn't get the results. I might could understand it if she waited until after the results and they didn't make the top 3.
That's a different thing.
I could almost kind of understand.
She still has no consequences.
Still has no reason for her to be the one upset. But they didn't even have the results. And so for her to make a fool of herself that way and to...
She did,
for
sure.
And it was so clear as day that it was hurting Turbo's feelings. The things that she was saying. Well, it was hurting him.
It was like he didn't want to argue, and because again, I think he's mostly passive. Now we've seen him get worked up with Hunter, and a switch flipped. But I feel like he tries to keep reserve, but once he crosses a line, like you've either offended or hurt him. And, like, there's no going back on that.
Well, the thing was, after this big scene that she made, one, as much as I love Dee...
It was weird.
She was in the wrong to get involved. And Turbo tried to say she had nothing to do with it. Dee had nothing to do with it.
Both times.
Yeah. Natalie... started this.
Both times.
And then Dee jumped in defending Natalie. You don't defend the aggressor. You don't defend the person that starts the fight and is trying to create conflict.
I somewhat get Dee's point.
I understand that's her friend, and maybe she didn't see the beginning of it. She just sees them arguing, and she thinks that wrongly assumes that it's Turbo creating this issue. But he is defending himself. He's trying to tell Natalie that he does not want to argue about this. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't want any part of it. Dee should not have involved herself.
And that's the thing, right, is like, if he's like coming at her, like if he stands up,
you starts the whole time,
like approaching her and like towering over her or whatever, then like
trying to be intimidating.
Then like you can like, so, and we love Dee, right? Like,
we do. I do.
We love Dee,
I do.
But this is...
I think Davon said it best. She was like, "This isn't your fight. Like, let him go. Like,
let them get it out because it was between two partners."
But at the same time, I'm not gonna I'm by no means gonna ridicule anyone for standing up for their person too.
No,
right?
but we also can admit, even though we like Dee, like,
don't really get it.
She should have stayed out of that.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. If the two of you got into an argument
with each other,
yes, and Zachary, you were the one coming at Jake, I would step in and I would try to calm you down. I wouldn't tell Jake to shut up and stop messing around. If you were the one that were starting it, I think that's what Dee should have done.
I serves you right. By the way,
I know, right?
I think that would have been the most resolving thing that she could have done.
But here's even another thing. We found this out first. I'm pretty sure it was the first episode of this season. Turbo's culture, they love women. They respect their women.
Yeah, it's a very big thing for him. Like, he's made a point
so
of that.
we should all know, they should have all known that he's not going to disrespect her even if she's in the wrong.
I feel like even bringing any sort of like gender roles or anything into it is a flawed way to look at it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a man and what I say is right, or
No.
I'm a female and I should be heard. It wasn't that at all.
that.
I understand that's not how I saw
Yeah.
it either, but that's how it was brought up. I don't feel like it was so much in this first conflict, but when Natalie tried to come up to Turbo and apologize, it almost turned into that kind of thing, like, I'm here trying to apologize to you, but you don't respect me enough. It made it seem like they were trying to manipulate the situation to turn Natalie into the victim here.
I'm glad she jumped to that. I think we just need to go ahead and hit that altercation.
Sure.
I know
We'll-
it's out of
yeah,
order.
we'll
we
jump
can
into it.
go back to the tribunal.
It's the same night, so
It's the same night, but so Ninja Natalie approaches him. She's still trying to fix everything. And look, like, I actually agreed with Theo here. He's a big proponent of forgiveness. He believes in forgiveness. You know, if somebody's trying to apologize to you, hear him out, accept it, whatever. At the same time, like, Turbo was legitimately hurt.
Yes.
Like, we saw when they announced the winners. They get announced as winners, and, like, he immediately goes into tears.
He broke down crying
Because-
and couldn't even finish a sentence. He finally had to just walk away.
He was justified in his strategy, and he got into this big fight because she's being aggressive, and he's having to expend all this emotional energy after expending an hour's worth of physical energy, which got to drain you.
He's probably exhausted.
Yeah, mentally, and like it became this big thing, and it's like, oh, hey, by the way, you're the second team we're announcing that made the tribunal. And he broke, man, and it was real. Like
Yes.
he was crying, and it was like a release. Like I don't know. It was a bittersweet moment.
Because Natalie's face fell. She
started crying.
realized how wrong she was.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to let up on that for a while. She was so dead wrong for that.
And so, like, you know, back at the club, like, Dee jumps in again. And she...
No place.
So Natalie
place there
starts
for that.
crying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then now Dee is coming at Turbo again saying, you made my friend upset.
She made herself upset.
She made herself upset.
Yeah.
Because Turbo doesn't... And look, man, like, if somebody's mad, the best thing you can do is give them space. Like, the more you just press and press and press, it's not going to happen.
She okay, I get she is very emphatically trying to apologize.
Yeah.
And I can respect that.
Also, the club may not be the best place to have that conversation either.
In front of
True.
everybody else.
Yeah.
It's at a table where everyone's around. Like, I get she's trying to apologize, and that is commendable because we've seen a lot of people on the show just, like, not apologizing, not going to do it. Or you have guys like Hunter who's like, I did all this wrong. He's like, gotcha. You know, like his whole thing, I'm going to be a sociopath when he didn't understand what that word meant. But she was legitimately trying to apologize. And Turbo just doesn't want to talk about it. It's still fresh to him. It still is like it's like he got stabbed and she's just like poking at the wound, and he doesn't want to like open that up again. And she finally, like, at one point, and Theo did, like, again, it's commendable. Like, hey, someone's apologizing to you, just, you know, let's move on. But it wasn't just like, oh, you made me mad. Like, Turbo comes out and says, you broke my heart.
That's when Natalie started crying.
Which we hear, and it sounds funny.
But it was like it was sincere.
No,
Yeah,
that it broke my heart when he said that.
Yeah.
Like he was not like glib about, like, it was, I can't accept your apology because you did something to me that crossed a line that I didn't think you would do. And that was like a real moment there.
And the thing is, he was being honest with her. That's why he didn't want to talk about it. He needed to, at the very minimum, sleep it off. She should have come to him in the morning.
They have to make. I mean, I get that they make him go out and whatever, but I agree with Jake saying earlier. It shouldn't have been at the table in front of everyone.
If she had to do it that night, she should have at least tried to get him, you know, to talk away from everybody.
Yeah, because
else.
he's not someone who's like gets sloppy drunk. I don't even know if he drinks or anything, honestly.
I never saw him drink.
And so, like, he's not gonna be like passed out when they get home. Like, if she really wanted to, like, she could have gave it a little while
Or done it when they got back to the house.
Yeah, it was weird timing, but again, love D, but not a good.
And here's what really bothered me. Natalie is just really pressing his button. And when it finally got to him and he had to just answer her and tell her that she broke his heart, that's when she started crying, and Dee jumps in and thinks that he has said something to hurt her, which is the opposite. He hasn't said anything to her. He said he didn't want to talk about it, and she is incessantly bugging him with it. He's not ready. He doesn't have to talk to her about it right then and there. He's not obligated to that. And so,
well, especially since they're not partners or anything.
And so then Natalie and Dee go to another table and they're like, oh, it's his loss. He's the one that's messed up, crossed the line or whatever. And I'm like, no, you cannot turn Natalie into the victim here. She was in the wrong twice now. She's got to leave him alone.
Yeah, it was like probably, and you know, maybe hyperbole because it's so fresh. We literally just watched it. It was probably one of the most like vulnerable moments I can remember in a while. And again, it may be recency bias or whatever, because again, we just watched it. But like, he was like holding off. He didn't want to say, "This is why I don't want to talk about it."
Yeah.
And then he finally like, "This is why." Like, you broke my heart. Like, it wasn't. We disagreed. Like, it became, again, because we saw him earlier, like one of you guys pointed out, they were working out together. They had this. I feel like he is very, very sincere with the way he treats everyone. And
Yes.
if you do finally cross that line,
He's going to let you know for sure.
It hurts him as well, as much as, you know, it may hurt you, but like it hurts him. I don't know. He seems like a person who is with you until the end, until you like cross the line, and then it's like hard for him to come back from there because he takes things so heavily. It's very heavily. Like, I don't know. It's strange.
Well, and then for
he's just a unique guy for this show.
He's so wonderful and genuine and caring, and for anyone to
Other than to Hunter, but
until
that was Hunter's fault too.
It was Hunter's fault. Hunter was the one that did it, but just for how genuine and wholesome he is as a person, for someone to just berate him the way that Natalie did, it personally hurt me. And it's not just Turbo, but for anyone to be screamed out like that, I have a problem with it.
and then to, you know, cap it all off from Dee and Ninja to, you know, once they kind of went off by themselves, to basically say like he's just selfish.
Yeah,
He's not
It's
selfish.
just
he's hurt. Like, he was hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's, again, we talked about it a lot, but it is what it is. Like, it was a personal thing in a way that I don't think we've seen with him. We saw him get mad, and again, I think he's got these very strong lines, and he's very low key and whatever, and very compassionate. But like, when you cross him in one way or the other, like Hunter crossed him and made him mad, and like when he understood it was like disrespectful what he said, he was like, "You will not do that to me." And then this one, it's just the other, like it's the opposite end of that. And so, and the whole dumb thing about it is it didn't matter. They were in the top two. Mm-hmm. Again, we goes back. Polly, Georgia, Turbo and Ninja, Wes and Davon. Another huge surprise, which that's going to be overshadowed by all this because this was such a big storyline. No one expected Wes and Davon to be in the top three.
Yeah, but when they were announced, didn't Davon start crying?
That's at that announcement. Turbo's crying, Ninja's crying, Davon's crying.
Wes cry.
Probably was gonna cry.
Probably wanted to. I don't know if he could.
It's just that's gonna be overshadowed in all this. But I will say shout out to Davon for competing hard and like getting up there
And getting in the top three.
We see they had, other than being able to. Well, no, they didn't even get. I was about to say other than maybe getting to vote in who goes, but at this point, the three are nominated or the ones left. So I mean, they'll get to say their piece at the tribunal who goes in. But yeah. So those are the ones who won. I skipped over the crying thing. Kyle, Theo, and Hunter are the ones that are being nominated because that's all that's left. And this is when we first see Polly talk to Kara about, I might volunteer. And Kara's like, this is dumb. At that point, I was like, if Polly backs this up and goes in against Kyle and takes him out, like that's like one of the ballsiest moves like we've seen. Because we saw, shout out to Paul, Statman Paul in the Slack chat, bringing this up. We saw Jordan try that move before against Bananas, and he went home.
Yes.
But at the
I
time,
remember that.
you're like, man, that's pretty ballsy to do that.
Yeah.
Now, as this episode went on, we realized Kyle is pretty hurt. He's limping around. He's got a broke toe for sure. He says he's got a broke knee or broke leg. Like, we don't know how, like, for real that is, but he is limping. Like, it's noticeable he's hurt. But in the midst of all this crap, before we even get to the tribunal, Hunter's threatening to go home. Nani's gone. He like self-defeated him. Like,
has anyone taken a daily loss harder than he did?
that's what I'm saying. Like, he was like, "This is mine. I'm gonna kill it." Didn't even make top 3, and he's like, "I gotta go home now."
Maybe he just had a bad hair day.
I don't know about that.
Why do you always bring that up?
Well, no,
You do.
The poor guy.
no.
Here's my thing about Hunter wanting to leave. I have 2 things. One, Kara was really upset about it. She's like, if you're going to threaten to go home, you better actually go home and not change your mind in 30 minutes.
She's 100% right.
Here we go, Kara.
Yeah.
I fully support that. If you're going to threaten to go home, you better pack your bags and actually walk out the door.
And also, she said it's very disrespectful to all the people who want to be here and are trying really hard. And I agree with that too, 100%.
Exactly. Like, if he's going to, if he was going to be that sad about the whole thing, not sad like emotionally, but sad as in pathetic, like wanting to quit. I mean, Nani could have stayed for that.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, again, Kara was like, they're not going home. They just threatened this. They're like, we're too close to the final. And like, Wes is trying to talk him down. So then he comes out in the, like, common area, and Georgia walks out, and she's like, no, you're so good. I don't want to try to do her accent.
Listen,
but,
I will say, I love Georgia.
except for when she was in the chair.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit annoying, but I didn't just dislike her as a person.
No.
I think she's
she's
so
very nice.
genuine
Very
of
nice.
a person.
Yeah.
I think she really meant every word that she said to Hunter. I think she was legitimately trying to keep him to stay.
But in that situation, it wasn't the best approach.
But she didn't know that.
Yeah,
She thought that she was helping.
I agree. She thought it was a genuine way to do that. And then Wes is like, hey, can you just give me a minute? Like, this is my guy. Let me talk to him. And she was like, why do you think you're always right? And he just finally was like, because I am. And we all like that line a lot.
I thought that was funny. It made
And
me giggle out loud. But I really appreciate Georgia trying to be a good person, trying to talk Hunter out of leaving, trying to tell him how great he is and how
I think they
well
were all
he's
genuine
doing.
compliments. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she meant every word that she said, and that was just, it was so sweet of her. Especially after, what she and Hunter have been through personally. I was surprised, and I was pleasantly surprised by how she reacted to that.
I agree that it was genuine, but I also think Wes was right in his stance as well, because him and Hunter are so close that if anyone could talk him down from whatever, it was going to be Wes.
I didn't negate that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it was both ands, like they both were.
It was just so nice of Georgia. She didn't have to do that.
But Kara was 100% right in this. Like,
yeah.
If either go home, don't be Ashley 2.0, which Ashley actually has left before, but most of the time she just threatens to leave. And other than the one time when she had a family issue, which that's completely
I almost
different.
brought that up, but I decided not to.
It's completely different. That is 100% go home, deal with your family stuff, and that was a charity one anyway. So, but I mean, if other than that, like, don't threaten to go home this late in the game just because your girl you like went home and you sucked at a daily.
I think you just had a bad hair day.
Okay. So anyway, we get in the tribunal. Not much to talk about from the tribunal, honestly.
Theo has plenty to talk about.
I was about to say,
Still has plenty to talk about.
Well, here was what I
Ridiculous.
noticed in the tribunal.
Ridiculous.
Theo came in.
Well, Hunter came in first and didn't say much. He's like,
Yeah.
I got to reach down and find a place where I can pull from. I don't know.
It was
get out of here.
kind of weak
Yeah.
and defeated.
If
But
Webster's dictionary.
Theo walks
is different.
in, and his mouth is running 90 to nothing. And this was when I turned to you, both of you, and I said, "Is this Theo's first time in the tribunal in this position defending himself?"
And I honestly don't remember.
I don't remember either.
It wouldn't surprise me if him and Cara got voted down at some point earlier on, but I really don't know.
I almost want to say they did once early on, but by himself for sure. This is the first time.
Yeah.
I think when if he and Cara were voted in, that they kind of knew they weren't going to get actually voted into the killing floor, so they didn't take it as seriously. But I think right here and right now, Theo does not know what to do. It's like you have a bug and you put your thumb on it and you start to very slowly add more and more pressure, and it's squirming around trying to get out from under your thumb. That's what I felt like Theo was.
A thumb?
No, the bug underneath the thumb that was
My mic is really far away.
that was desperately scrambling to get out from underneath the thumb.
I don't.
Can we reenact that again?
No.
A thumb? It's like that scene from Dennis the Menace. Apple.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, he was talking so rapidly, I couldn't even understand a word that he said. I didn't get anything that Theo said in this entire thing, and he said a lot of words.
He's gotten used to being on the other end of the tribunal.
I think
and
it's
he likes
that
to talk a
room.
lot. Yeah, he likes to talk. By the way, the one takeaway from that again, Kyle's there. Him and Polly have a pretty playful interaction.
It was joking.
Cara wasn't in the room. Didn't get violent.
I think it's that room, man. It's like it's the opposite effect of what kryptonite has on Superman. Something in that room.
So it's like spinach
It's like
to
cocaine.
Popeye.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. He goes in that room and it's like I don't know, it's like a soccer field or something.
Well, and
Is he the soccer player?
no, he's the track star.
It's like a track field.
But here's the thing. I don't know how many times I've said that one phrase.
Say it again.
Here's the thing.
Yep.
Theo has had all this experience in this tribunal room, but he's always been in the power, asking the questions, adding pressure, trying to instill fear into those who might be voted into the killing floor. This is his first time having to defend himself and, try to convince the people in the tribunal why he shouldn't be voted in. And so, I mean, I feel like he was super uncomfortable with it. He was crazy frantic.
I don't know.
It didn't make any sense to me the way he acted.
Well,
he was all over the place.
I think that's just kind of his personality. He talks a lot, but like when he's packing his bags and stuff, like he may be one of those that's like projecting because he's not confident, but he was like, I'm 100% ready. I know I'll beat either of them. Again, it could be projecting. And then, because he was like, unless I'm wrong and I go home. And he's like, that then.
I think it's just that room.
Okay, it's the room. But yeah, it's, again, that was, and then Kyle comes out and again, he's like, I'm beat up, whatever. And next thing is the night out. We've already talked about that. We can skip over that.
Skip over it.
We come into the killing floor and we don't see a lot, but we do see it's a plexiglass hallway and it's about as wide as a set of shoulders.
You hear that, Wes?
Yeah.
It's time to hall brawl.
Hall brawl.
And surprise, they're going to bring in Big Easy.
I know, they're going to bring in me.
Yeah, good one.
Wes.
Yeah, Wes, again,
Bring your brawl to the hall.
Wes is safe, but he starts off they don't say it's hall brawl, but if you're a fan of the show, you know it's hall brawl.
TJ literally said, those of you who've been here for a while know that this is my favorite elimination.
But he doesn't say what it is. And so they basically tease it with Wes saying, before I nominate anyone, does anyone want to volunteer themselves? Because they're teasing the whole Polly thing. And then that's our cliffhanger. It's just Polly and Kyle split like side by side. Is he going to nominate himself? I think, by the way, Paul, our Statman Paul, was calling you out in the Slack.
I saw
He
it.
said, if Paulie is all this talk and then he doesn't go in against Kyle, you've got to admit that he's all talk and no.
No.
Okay.
But if he does go in against Kyle, who's broken in several places and loses...
Oh, that'd be bad. But I think at this point, Paulie should stay out of it because for two reasons. One, it's a dumb thing to do.
It's too risky.
Yeah, and two, even if he goes in against, if it is Kyle, if he goes in against Kyle, it is you're going against a hurt player, and it's not going to make your reputation as high as like it would otherwise.
You could go against the guy that has a broken toe and a broken kneecap, who has the will to be here but is just broken, or you can go up against the guy that literally hours ago threatened to go home and doesn't really have the will,
by the way,
to continue the
hall
game.
brawl is built for Hunter. Like he fills that hallway more than anybody. But yeah, that's the thing is, if Paulie does go down against Kyle, it's going to be like a half of a win. Because he's hurt. I mean, it's not the same as if it was 2 weeks ago when he called him out, you know?
Right.
Now, again, it'll make good TV one way or the other if he goes in. So I will say this cliffhanger I'm okay with because we know the next elimination is going to be good.
Right.
We didn't know what the one for this episode was, and it sucked, and I'm still mad about what it was. Because, again, Nani didn't even get a fair chance. Start making full circle, but it's just stupid. But, again, shout out to Davon, her asthma. Still kicking with Wes, but let's get in superlatives for the night. You know what? Let's do Who Smashed Some Heads tonight. You go first, Jake.
I actually wasn't prepared.
You go first, Hannah.
Smashed heads?
Yeah, who smashed some heads? So right.
I wasn't prepared either. I didn't have a chance.
You
to
rushed
write
us
it down.
in here.
You did. You rushed us in here.
I did rush us in here because
and neither of us had a chance to write it down.
well, I never write mine down because I just go last and then I pick out of what you guys don't say.
I would probably say Turbo smashed Natalie's head when she thought that she could just apologize and, say that it was the heat of the moment and she didn't mean any of the mean things that she said to him, and he dismissed it and said he didn't want to talk about it.
All right, Jake.
Who smashed heads?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I was ready.
You literally, but while Hannah was talking, he was holding up his finger like, I got it, I'm next.
The defining moment where he actually smashed Natalie's head when he said the words, "You broke my heart."
So,
that was when it hit her really hard.
I was going to say, Turbo's a good one because you could say like his plan worked and they did win. I'm gonna give this one to Davon because she did not have anything to fight for. She was partnered with someone that she had some beef with in the past. Wes was the last guy to get picked. She was the last girl to get picked, and they came in there top three.
They
That's
did
my
a good
pick.
job.
Yeah.
I was very surprised.
Georgia, in particular, smashed Wes's head.
That elimination's a mute. Point
She
to me.
frazzled him.
She did frazzle him for sure,
But
but she did move a lot too. So
I don't hate the player, hate the game.
I hated that game.
Hate the game.
for sure.
Shout out to Booker T 5 times on Twitter.
So what about who got their head smashed?
Natalie?
We already talked about that. Why?
Or we could say Turbo also got his heart smashed.
This is heads.
This is heads. Yeah, we're not the Smashing Hearts podcast.
Well, I mean, I
Totally
think
different podcast.
I think Natalie may have smashed his head as well because
We can't have a double smash.
No.
it broke into his harsh exterior wall where he doesn't like to let people get to him. And she got to him so deep that he started crying twice.
He did.
Asthma.
Okay, good one.
Asthma got its head smashed tonight. You don't agree?
No, I'm I'm gonna, I don't know how to phrase it, but I want to say something along the lines of, production should have got their head smashed tonight, because that was a sucky elimination and lead off. Like, they tempted us for the first to be continued of the season. The first one, and then that's what we come up with. Like, that's what we have to watch. It's over in 5 seconds. Like, production got their head smashed by thinking that was a good way to start a show.
Shots fired.
It's stupid. They should hire me as a consultant, because I
Or
would
a cameraman.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk about them like that anymore.
Or a video editor.
Yeah, but
Or TJ.
or no, I wouldn't want to be TJ. Shout out TJ.
Yeah. Kisses to the sky.
Yeah. But yeah, again, it's however you want to phrase that. Production got their own head smashed by their own hubris, because that was a stupid thing to show us. So that's mine.
Okay.
I have to go to sleep.
What's your movie? 2015.
You know what? It's one we saw together.
Then I know it's not mine.
You better not. Furious 7. I said it first.
No, but you asked me first.
But then I changed my mind, and I have that discretion.
No. I sat with you, watched that movie, and I cried at the end.
I didn't cry at the end.
Is that the one where
Paul Walker dies halfway through it? Okay. I mean,
he's alive in the movie.
He is alive in the movie, but he died in real life, like in the middle of it.
What year is it? 2015?
2015.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. They use his brother as a body double.
I'm going to do mine next.
That's fine.
My movie, I didn't know, Jake, you were going to do this. My movie, I picked, one, because I love the movie. Two, because, Zach, you took me to see this movie.
Oh, is it Maleficent?
No.
Project Almanac.
No, we had just started dating. And you took me to Nashville for the weekend for my birthday.
That sounds hot.
Took me to all my favorite restaurants. We went to my absolute favorite restaurant for brunch.
Oh, now you're really eating up.
And then you took me to the IMAX to see Jurassic World, and we sat really close to the front, and I kept jumping out of my seat the whole time.
I did like that movie.
It was IMAX 3D, and the dinosaurs would jump out, and then I jumped out of my seat and screamed a lot because it felt like they were coming at me. It was a great movie, though. I love all the Jurassic Park movies.
Were your pants still on at the end of it?
Yeah, I was wearing shorts.
Okay. Well, mission accomplished, I guess.
Cool segue. Yeah, mine was definitely Fury 7, because I've been keeping a theme of whenever a Fast and the Furious movie comes up, I'm going to pick it. So yeah, that's still mine.
That's fine.
We saw it together. We can have a co-movie. I'll go first. My high school album of the week. By the way, I was wrong last week. The band Seisha is on Spotify. It's just the album I suggested called A Retrospective is not. It's like a compiled works or whatever. But I'm going with a band that I did not like until I saw them live, like my freshman year or sophomore year of college. 4 Years Strong. The album Rise or Die Trying. Real good. Just solid guys. I've liked them ever since, but I did not like them before that. Saw them open for Newfound Glory, and I loved them.
I don't think you have picked these guys yet. Maybe you have. I went with Thrice, the artist in the ambulance.
Yeah, I don't think I have. Honestly, I love Thrice, but I think that's one I've just missed.
Good album.
Great album. That's the first album by them I really liked.
Good solid hardcore album.
They were, yeah. I think it's. The Artist in the Ambulance, that song in particular, is what got me into Thrice.
Yeah.
Because I heard some other, like I heard Stare at the Sun and all that, and I was like, I don't know if this is for me, but it is a great album, top to bottom.
Mine is Kings of Leon, Aha, Shake, Heartbreak.
is that your favorite?
It just makes me want to go to Asahi down the road for some
Why
sushi.
would that make you want to get sushi?
Shakes.
By the way, we've read all the Patreon supporters so far. Shout out to Katie for joining with us this week.
Corn dogs aren't good.
Corn dogs are amazing.
Corn dogs are great, first
Dead
of all.
wrong.
But yeah, we'll be with Polly this coming Tuesday. If you're a patron, we will be posting a place on Patreon to post your questions for Polly before we record on Tuesday, and we'll be recording a Redemption House sometime this weekend, and so we'll try to get with everyone. If
We're
we pick
going
your
to
name.
talk all about the new Avengers movie.
No, we're not.
And how long
not.
it is.
Spoiler free.
Yeah, we might get into if we liked it or whatever, but we don't worry, we're not going to talk about any spoilers or anything like
I
that.
didn't say we were going to talk about spoilers.
You said we're going to talk all about the movie.
Yeah, we
so.
can talk about the movie without giving away spoilers.
But yeah, so anyway, again, patreon.com/smashingheadspodcast, and Polly will be on in a couple days, so we'll be going out from here.
Zach's gonna go check on his dog who's been moaning.
He's hungry.
He's been whining.
Give him a good rub down. Massage it out for him.
He needs a bath.
And once he's done that, they're gonna go have a good night.
Stop talking.
It's a weird one. Have a good night, everyone.